Welcome to Primitive Gymnastics, where you can achieve everything you've been dreaming of. While I might regret those promises like your average politician after an election, one thing is for certain. If you follow along, you might learn some new skills and exercises and lose a couple of calories on the way. Grab your yoga mat and prepare to bend not just your body, but the very concept of exercise. We'll be moving slower than a Monday morning, so you can follow along with this training routine like a professional gymnast. I have put together a dynamic mix of different exercises that you are going to put your flexibility, your coordination, and core strength to the test. And will focus on doing these exercises in order to execute a perfect forward roll later on. Learning a new technique can be time consuming because the most important thing is repetition. This workout is about 30 minutes long and made to be repeated as many times as possible until you achieve the technique. But without further ado, let's get active. Make yourself comfortable while I deal with some cat issues for a second. We start with an easy warm-up and conditioning of the muscles and joints used in the forward roll technique. Then we are going to get our heart rate up so we can breathe out about 100 excess calories through our workout. First up, we focus on our hips and neck with our hands resting on hips. Let's start with 8 repetitions of hip circles clockwise and then the same amount counterclockwise. Don't rush. Quality is much more important than quantity. Next, we're going to stretch our necks both ways. Be gentle and move slowly. Use your hand to hold the sideways neck position while slowly nodding your head. Let's move our hands back on our hips and do 4 repetitions of neck circles. Remember to move slowly and use full amplitude movements. Now let's switch the rotation for a balanced stretch. Let's move on with hand circles. 8 repetitions front to back, one hand at a time. The same amount the opposite way.
Nice! Alright, now let's step our legs apart for a forward bend stretch. We want to keep this dynamic, so we tip our hands down in front of us and through our legs in turn. Stretch as far as you can with each tip while keeping your legs straight from the knees. The next exercise starts from the same position. It's called the windmill stretch. Bend forward while keeping your legs and hands straight. Move your hand to touch your opposite toes and rotate between both legs diagonally in a propeller-like motion. We rotate 16 times. It's alright if you can't quite reach your toes. Just move as far as you can while keeping the limbs straight and looking up at your hand. Good job! The last standing warm-up starts with putting our straight legs together for a standing pike stretch. As we did with our legs apart, we now tip our hands forward and behind our legs in turn. 16 tips in total. Let's come down to a kneeling position and warm up our wrists. First up, we do 8 wrist circles both ways, holding our hands up. Focus on maximum range of motion. Keep holding your hands up and wrists under a 90-degree angle while pumping some blood in there 10 times. Now put those babies on the floor, fingers facing outwards and shoulders on top of your wrists. Move your shoulders round the wrists using your body weight. 8 reps should do the trick. Okay, now it's time to get that heart rate up in a plank position, tucking our knees to our chest in a running motion. We're doing this for 1 minute. If you're feeling strong, go for a faster pace. Well done, just like my burgers. Let's take a breath on our knees while going to a shoulder extension stretch. We want to hold our hips just on top of our knees with straight hands. For 30 seconds, gravity is doing its job, but we want to tip our head through our hands. Slowly move forward to get your hips on the floor, legs and hands straight for a 30-second cobra pose stretch. Focus on holding your hips on the ground, heels together and head looking upwards. We're ready to hold the hollow body for 1 minute. Move on your back. Let's lift our legs and upper body off the ground. Balance yourself on your sitting bones, creating a boat shape with your body. We can make it easier if we tuck our legs, but at the very least, keep holding your upper back and heels up. I know, this exercise is quite tough for me too. Super nice! Now, let's move into a deep squat position to get our heart rate down a bit and to stretch our inner thighs for 30 seconds. Tuck yourself between your knees and use your shoulder blades to widen the space between legs. Let's casually move on from that deep squat to our hands, shifting our body weight forward on top of our shoulders. Keep your knees and elbows slightly bent and your shoulders on top of your wrists. Also, keep your head down to your chest. Hold this for 30 seconds. This quadruped position is where we start to generate momentum for a forward roll. Keep going, we're already halfway there. Roll yourself on your back and move your hands and feet above your head for a 30-second plow pose stretch. Ideally, we'd want to keep our legs straight and our toes touching the floor. If this is too much for you, don't worry, just keep your legs bent and try getting your hips up from the ground. Watch out from hitting your face with your knees. Next, we have a sitting pike stretch for 30 seconds. Hold your knees straight if possible and keep it dynamic. We can start from bent knees and move them as far straight as possible. Good. We're ready for more technical exercises. Let's go for tuck hold swings for 30 seconds. Holding our knees half bent, head forward and upper body hollow. Keep your core strong and move hips and upper body along with inertia. Moving on to the hip raise hold for 30 seconds. We need to move our hips up, holding ourselves on upper back and supporting the hold with our hands on the lower back. We can start with knees bent while getting the hands locked for support, and then slowly straighten our legs. Is nice. Now we're ready to execute semi-tucked hold swings to squat. We're going for 8 reps. Remember to hold your core hollow, head down to your chest, and use hips to create some speed. The higher up we move our hips, the faster inertia we will get to swing on our feet. Tuck your legs tight when getting on a squat. Great job. Now we're doing 2 strength exercises to fire up muscles even more. 2 sets of both exercises alternately. First up, we have this quadruped position we did before. We're doing 8 reps of half push-ups in this position, holding our head on our chest as much as possible. The second exercise we're doing is supporting hip raises on our backs for 8 reps. Put your hands beside you, palms down. Put your hips up with half bent knees and slowly straighten them up. Keep going. Repeat both exercises once more. You are on fire. I think we're ready for a forward roll practice now. Take a breath for a second and you might want to adjust your yoga mat as well. Remember those positions we were in. We need every exercise put together like an orchestra. We're doing 8 reps of forward rolls. Feel free to pause after and do more if you'd like. Our starting position will be a deep squat with our hands on the ground in front of us. It's very important to keep your head on your chest. It shouldn't touch the ground while rolling. You can cautiously try jumping to a half-tucked handstand position, looking at your feet while doing so. Position yourself forward, taking your heels off the ground. After hands, the first thing that touches the floor is our upper back. From the deep squat, we're pushing our knees straight with forward motion and our head on our chest going through our hands. While jumping forward to roll, bend your elbows a little. We want to keep our upper back as close to the ground as possible. We start with our legs apart and hands between our knees, but eventually we'll try to get our legs together with knees between our hands. Landing our forward roll is easiest if we hold a deep squat until we roll on our legs flat. If you're feeling more comfortable, try clasping your hands over your knees after you have supported your first jump. Also, jumping forward means straightening your legs, but after reaching the ground with your upper back, tuck those knees right back under your chest, so it's easier for inertia to do the rolling. Gradually move your hands further for the starting position and jump further to forward roll as well. When we get more practice in, we can start manipulating the momentum from inertia. Alright. Those were some tight rolls. Even the sushi chef would be jealous of. I will show you different ways we can do forward rolls, although I wouldn't recommend trying those at the first try. We can jump higher, counting on our hands to soften the landing. We can also roll forward on one knee, for example. There are countless ways to use this element, but I would suggest mastering the basic forward roll first. Now, let's cool down a bit and end our workout with some static stretches to not feel sore tomorrow. We're doing a 30-second supine pigeon stretch on our back, knees bent and feet flat on the floor. Lift one foot off the ground and place the ankle of that foot on the opposite knee, so your legs form a figure 4 shape. Reach your hands through the opening between your legs and clasp your hands together behind the knee. let's switch our legs. Now, let's loosen up abdominal muscles. 30-second cobra pose, or as we like to call it in Estonia, a seal pose. Hold your hips down, head high and hands straight. Next up, we stretch our quadriceps on our knee for 30 seconds. If you don't feel comfortable, feel free to stretch it standing up. Try to push your hips further to get more stretch. Let's switch our legs. Great! Move on to your back again for a supine knee to chest stretch for 30 seconds. Feel the stretch in your hamstrings while clasping your hands over your knee. Let's switch the legs. Now, standing up, tie your hands behind your back and bend forward to stretch out your deltoids and chest for 30 seconds. And the last bit is just shaking your limbs and your body for an orgasmic finish.
Congratulations! You've made it to the end without turning into a human pretzel. Thank you for choosing my workout. If you enjoyed this blend of functional training and gymnastic flair, leave a like. It's the easiest stretch you'll do today. Subscribe for more workouts that are as accessible as your yoga mat and as uplifting as a well-executed handstand. Until next time, keep rolling out your mat and stay active.